Today we're going to be taking a look at a stove that was sent to me for review purposes from GearBest.com. So just to be clear, this isn't a stove I've purchased, but was sent to me for review. So it's kind of unusual in the sense that it has lots of features. We'll go over those in a second, but this is how the stove arrives. Actually in a very well packaged, MOLLE compatible digital camo pouch. It's pretty well made. The stitching's good. Kind of like that the MOLLE's on there too, to give you some options, and they've also got some other attachment points in the back as well, as long as these longer strips. It's held together with a nice piece of Velcro. So the stove weighs about 0.6 kilo on its own, or in the packaging 0.68 kilos. So it's pretty heavyweight. Stove's made out of stainless steel, so let's go ahead and take a look. So let's go ahead and assemble the stove. So it looks like, oh yes, that is a cheese grater. So you, okay. So it looks like the base plate can be fitted in two different locations. And I guess that's so that you can use the different types of sources of fuel. So that's the stove fully assembled. Let's go through some of the features. So on the front, this is a very nice opening for feeding the fire. It looks like this is the tin opener part of the kit, and this is some sort of serrated edge, maybe for wood, but it looks more like a kind of a bread knife looking blade. And here we have some box wrench type shapes. Not sure how they would hold up with a lot of torque on them. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Not actually shown on here. And of course the cheese grater, which everyone needs for outdoors. This is a much rougher cut saw. Has a ruler on one side and actually a very sharp blade here. And this is the bit that concerns me. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. So this is my Stanley cook stove that I carry. As you can see, that's kind of large. So if you measure the size of the orifice, we've got about 4 3/4 inches by 4 1/8. in centimeters, 12 centimeters by 10.5. And the overall height is about 15 centimeters or 6 inches. So let's go ahead and start the stove. My fireproof piece of MDF. There's a bit of a loose stove. I also have, I'm going to use my Swedish mess tin, has half a litre of water. I also have a couple of pieces of cotton soaked in wax. I'm going to cheat with the matches. So there we have the burn test. As you can see, all stainless steel. She gets discolored with heat. So it has changed colour somewhat. I still think the grater is a bit of a mistake, and actually the edges of the grater are starting to roll up because it's too thin and the heat has warped that already. The holes in the side I think are too large as well. There's too much of the heat actually going outside of the frame. The large front hole is very good. I think that works well. I really think these blades on the side here are just an accident waiting to happen. Not only is this thing hot, it's also ready to cut you as well. So I think they may need to rethink that. Not sure you can see that, but they're just not sharp enough. And they don't have an offset. They don't have an offset kerf. so they're not going to really cut very well. However, the grater seems to work fine. See, the base is also warped. So now we've taken a look at the stove and all the features. What do we think? Well, for $27, I think this is a pretty good stove. It's a reasonable size. It's made of good materials. It's stainless steel. It has too many features, perhaps, that you just would never use, and some features that may, if you're not careful, end up not being very beneficial to you, put it that way. So I think if you're in a market for a stove like this, and you don't mind some of the weird additions to the stove, I think this wouldn't be a bad choice. It's a little bit heavier than a normal stove, but it is a little bit larger than the majority of them as well. So you take a compromise with that. Well, that wraps up the review. An interesting stove for sure, and not for everyone. I would also recommend a few changes. I personally like a smaller stove as they consume less fuel, but the larger stoves can handle larger pans and may be better for larger groups. So until next time, take care. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, leave me a comment, maybe a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.